What's up, the internet? It's me, it's Kyle. How's it going? That person is Dan. I got a lot going on here. My insulin pump's yelling at me. My laptop's yelling at me. My regular computer's yelling at me. And I'm surprised Dan isn't yelling at me, but I'm sure he will soon for something that I'm certain to do at some point.
No.
I'll make a dad joke or something, and I'll totally deserve it. I just haven't done it yet. Oh, speaking of, why did the turtle cross the road?
Could be any reason. Who understands the comings and goings of turtles?
The answer is we don't know yet. He's still crossing.
Okay. Perhaps he's coming over to claim about there being the lack of shells on pistachios.
Did you say the lack of shells on pistachios?
Yeah. You don't get those commercials?
No.
There's they now sell shellless pistachios, and the whole commercial thing is this turtle has come in to complain because the whole campaign is like kick the shells or something like that.
No, I've not seen that one. But did you see that the group Avocados from Mexico spent $6.5 million on a Super Bowl commercial 2.5 hours before they announced a ban on avocados from Mexico? Apparently, the cartels got involved in the avocado trade and threatened to unalive an avocado inspector. So the U.S. has banned avocados from Mexico until the Mexican government can promise the safety of the avocado inspectors.
Speaking as a native Californian, I'm fine with that. I don't give a flying F about avocados. I don't like them.
Okay. You know who stands to make a lot of money from this ban?
People from California that make avocado, that sell avocados.
Oh, well, sure, but yeah, Jason Mraz, the singer.
Yeah, I know who Jason Mraz is.
Right.
Why?
He spent all the money he made off of that song, The Remedy, buying a colossal avocado farm where he lives and smokes weed. Which is a wise investment. Like, if you're going to make money on one of your 4 hits, like, buy land. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, especially on land that produces.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, we're supposed to be talking about comics that are interesting this week, not Jason Mraz's weed and avocado empire. But first, I have to show you my new shirt. I got a new t-shirt today.
Okay.
I think you'll appreciate it. You ready?
Uh-huh. I like it.
I felt like when I ordered it, there was like 6 people who would really get this shirt. You know, like we get the Monty Python reference and the King Arthur reference and the Blues Brothers reference.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're a real nerd, there's actually a joke in the font as well.
What's the joke in the font?
The font is called Mission from God.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's one of those things that works on like a bunch of levels.
Yeah. It's a nice
so
shirt.
that, like,
I like that.
Yeah, I was real happy. Shout out to the people at Shirt Punch. All right.
Nice.
Who is texting me? I'm on the air. Oh, that's me being responded to. Okay. I'm renting a theater for The Batman.
Cool.
And I'm getting approval.
What time should I be there?
March 12th at 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to have to leave soon.
Yeah, it's true. To walk across country.
Yeah. No, I may drive, but at gas prices, I'm going to go, only at night and,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, let's start here. There's an all ages book this week that I really want to talk about because I've had a song stuck in my head because of it now for 8 to 10 hours.
You're welcome.
And it's like my highlight of the week, but it's the Lunch Lady 2-for-1 special. But the first part is Lunch Lady and this cyborg substitute, and the second one is oh no, I'm gonna forget what it is. Something to do with librarians.
Yeah, but we reviewed the first helping. This is the second helping cover.
Yeah, this is the only image I could grab that wasn't weirdly shaped. So, but also, guys, the audiobook is read by Kate Flannery, who played Meredith on The Office. So, Dan, when you were in school, who held more mysticism for you, the lunch lady or the janitor?
For me, it was the janitor, Mr. Blanco, because I brought lunch, so I didn't have a lot of interaction with the lunch lady. And I was a weird kid. I used to bring cereal, so I brought a little container with cereal and a little container with milk and would sit there and eat my Captain Crunch during lunch.
Why did I never think of that? Go ahead.
And but Mr. Blanco was he was always just something went wrong. There was Mr. Blanco. So, and the fact I remember his name. Yeah,
it's true. We had I'm gonna forget his name. I went to the man's funeral. My janitor in school, and I can't remember his name now. And I went to his funeral because I wound up being friends with his grandson. A different story, but anyhow, yeah, it was definitely the janitor. But I can remember the lunch lady was always this really old woman. Who just did not speak as you went through the line, just slopped it up, and it's like, if I don't want green beans, didn't matter. She could care less what you were trying to tell her. Just there's your food. And then I discovered Adam Sandler. Hoagies and grinders, navy beans, navy beans, navy beans. So this book is about the lunch lady, and the kids of the school are super concerned with, like, what does the lunch lady do when she's not the lunch lady, right? Like, does she have a bunch of cats at home? Where does she live? What are her hobbies? And as it turns out, that this lunch lady is somewhere between, I would say, Black Widow and Catwoman.
Yeah.
With a lot of food-based Batman tools.
I love that the other lunch lady is the one that makes her stuff.
Right. The other lunch lady is her Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
Like,
I made you a gadget. Oh, I love gadgets.
Right. Right. This book is super fun. High recommend for anyone who has a kid or in their lives who is a Dave Pilkey fan. This feels like a book in the Pilkey verse in a lot of ways. The art is maybe not as what's the word I'm looking for, Dan? As advanced maybe as some of the Dave Pilkey art is. You know, it's not maybe quite as polished. It's more cartoony.
Yeah.
But it's super fun. I spent way too much time reading this and not nearly enough time reading the other books we needed to read this week. So shout out to the lunch lady and lunch ladies everywhere. My grandmother was a lunch lady. When she worked, she was a lunch lady. I have a lunch lady story. You ready?
Okay.
My grandmother used to, every summer there would be a week where she couldn't watch me because she was going out of town for work. And I'm like, you're a lunch lady. What work do you have to do in the summer? I didn't fully understand, but she would go to Columbus, Ohio every year to the lunch lady convention. And they would go over all of, like, it would be like Comic-Con, but all of the vendors of school lunch stuff would be there.
Okay.
And she would come back with like tonnage of Oreos, like little single serving Oreos and, you know, jug, like the milk, or not the milk, the juice that came in like a plastic thing that looked like a barrel. And, you know, she would come, and I'm like, did you just go to the magical land of things I want to put in my mouth? Like, I didn't understand, but it was hysterical. It was like she'd gone to Narnia or something. And she's like, yeah, I just went to the lunch lady convention and walked around and got free samples all day. So,
the magical land of things I want to put in my mouth.
I know what I said.
Do you? Do you?
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of things I want to put in my mouth, and then pop up the Barbarella cover.
That's a good cover.
It is. You know who she kind of looks like in this?
Yes. Who is young
like a young
Diaz.
Jenny McCarthy?
I was thinking Cameron Diaz from The Mask.
No, Cameron Diaz, absolutely. I hadn't seen that one. I saw like a young Jenny McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
And while Dan takes his medication,
yeah, sorry,
because it's important. It's important
to
take your medications on time, y'all.
I'm sitting here doing the math, trying to think, did I take my antibiotic? Hang on.
Well, Dan's going to take his. I'm going to take mine. But Barbarella is. This book is certainly getting set up to do another movie. I think they're really kind of laying the groundwork for this. Is something you could see on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's classic. I mean, Sarah Hoyt is doing a great job. It feels like the old Barbarella series. It has the little mini mission type feel, and how she keeps popping up on. There's the overall quest line to stop the lady who has taken Barbarella's appearance as well. So the little fox-like creature is great, and yeah, it's definitely an interesting series, and it's been consistent. The art is consistent. The art kind of ramped up, and now has hit that kind of sweet spot that it's going at. Matabek Musabeka is doing a really good job with that.
Yeah. This is not normally the kind of book I would buy.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe would have bought the first couple issues, been like, all right, cool. First couple issues, cool. But nah, it'd be one of those things for me where I'm going, I'm not so sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the art has kept me in it. The writing has kept me in it. And I'll be honest, I like the little character dude more.
Yeah.
Than I like her at this point.
This cover though is interesting because it's not a cosplay cover.
Right. That's a painting. Yeah.
I do think that maybe Cameron Diaz might have been the inspiration for this, because I can see that in the face.
Yeah, I could certainly get behind that theory. And again, I think, a young Jenny McCarthy, there's a number of women who I could see playing who's the other one? Denise Richards.
Mm-hmm.
Who I could see playing a Barbarella type character.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but at the time.
Yeah.
You know who I could see doing it now?
Who?
Florence Pugh.
I am not on the Florence Pugh bandwagon at this point. She was okay in Black Widow. I liked her a lot in Hawkeye, but I don't think I've really seen much else from her.
I'm just talking from an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily, she might not be able to pull off the acting bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, but from an aesthetic choice, Florence Pugh.
Maybe.
Okay. We'll move right along to other things that would like to kill you.
The best thing about this issue is the Adam Hughes cover. You should find the Adam Hughes cover.
I'm working on it.
Okay. This book, I like it, but I don't love it. It just kind of, I don't know. It feels like it's trying to get someplace, but I'm not sure where it's going yet.
I officially don't care for it.
Yeah.
This issue in particular turned me off.
Okay. Yeah, then it's not just me. But
And
if I was going to buy one, it'd be that cover.
absolutely. And I trust Christopher Priest, and because we're reviewing them, I will keep reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, this is a book that started off not knowing what it was and continues to not know what it is. And when you have two characters that are as iconic, I don't know that that's the word I want to use, as they have as much lore around them as Vampirella and Dracula.
Yeah.
You can't not know what you are.
Fair enough.
And again, I would love to see Priest, you know, I was hoping it would be in this issue, in the next issue, drop it on me. Hey, idiot, this is what I was doing the whole time, and make it make sense. Kind of like they did in the last Panther. You know, where it's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
But I think in this book it needed to happen an issue earlier. So, but if you're into this kind of book, it's kind of right in the wheelhouse.
Yep.
All right. This is The Killer: Affairs of the State from Boom Studios and Archaea Press.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if you guys have ever read a comic book that you know is good, but it's a victim of incredibly slow pacing to the point where it kind of puts you to sleep. This is that. I know intellectually that this book is going to be killer. Not just because of the name, but I know where this story is going. Like, I can pretty much predict the next story beat, right? But they just get to the first story beat so slowly.
Yeah. I was reading it and started wandering off.
I literally dropped my iPad on my face reading it when I fell asleep. I thought I broke my nose. However, I powered through and got to the end, and I'm like, okay, I know this book will be something I will enjoy. It's just got to get into first gear, man. Like, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, it's a slow read.
You know, and I will say this. There have been a number of Archaea Press books that I would put in my top 20 comics of all time, like Mouse Guard, that had this same issue. So that is not, it's not a knock on anything. It's just something that for this issue is troublesome.
Yeah. And I kind of equate this to the editor at this point.
Yeah.
If you're writing and you're writing a story and you're telling the story, you are kind of in too deep to be able to look at it from the outside. When I was doing the freeze over at Top Cow, I did the first issue. I sent it in. The only note I got back was from Matt Hawkins, who said, we need something to happen in the beginning to make this work.
Right.
And he suggested something, and it really worked. I took something that wouldn't have happened for a long time, threw it in the beginning, changed the entire pacing of the series.
Right. In this book, nothing happens at the beginning.
Yeah, this needs something to get you quick. Do you remember the movie Swordfish?
Yes.
Do you remember how we had that weird opening with the explosion, and then it went into the movie?
No, I remember Topless Halle Berry.
Okay.
I was pretty young when that movie came out. That was kind of formative for me. That's about it.
The opening of Swordfish is out of place. It takes from later in the thing, does this opening with the guns and this ball bearing rolling across the ground. It's a great opening because it gets you hooked, and then you're in no matter where they're going at that point.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. This book needed to start in the middle and then go back.
Yeah.
So,
So this could be a great book, but it's you got to trog up the stairs to get there.
yeah. All right. Next up is Belle. Grim Fairy Tales. Belle, Queen of the Serpents, number 1. And I don't know why I did this. I made a mistake. I know why, because there's only one cover offered on the website I go to. There is an absolutely fire B cover for this. That is essentially Belle riding the skeleton of that thing behind it. That thing behind her, with the fangs and the tongue.
Okay, that's probably not. Is probably the other serpent in the story. That's actually her friend, who's a female.
I think it's just an artistic choice. Like,
yeah,
or it's one of those. It's
there's two serpents in the story. There's a woman that gets turned into a serpent, or kind of scaly, and that's who's on the cover. And then there's this big old serpent. So, yeah, this picks up from the last Belle story we read, and they're very microcosmic stories. They're very. It's like one night. We're doing an entire issue based on one night. It is progressing in chunks, which it seems kind of weird to me that there's no passage of time.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that with most Zenescope books is like we get snippets. It's like we're telling everything in photographs. We're not telling a movie.
It's kind of the quantum leap timeline kind of concept. You're jumping into a happening as opposed to being led to it.
Right. So we get no time with her dealing with the fact that she killed her mom in the last book, or what happened to her brother, or any of that stuff. We just go right into her on patrol, or her checking on her friend, finding out that she's been transformed and, going to this otherworldly place. It's a fun story. Dave Franchini cranks out another good book, but it's the first negative thing I've seen about the way they're doing doing their books now, where they're doing a lot of number ones, is that it feels very disjointed. There's no big picture. It's just, here's a snippet, here's a snippet, here's a snippet. So I'd like to see them kind of bring together an overall picture a little better.
Yeah. I'd like to be led into a story instead of dropped into one.
Yeah.
Even if it's a couple of pages, give me a couple of pages to get warmed up to where we're going. Don't just assume I know stuff.
Right. Because you're not getting a lot of the backstory of Belle, her relationship with her friend, and their turtle. I mean, all of that stuff's in there, but it's
the turtle that's crossing the road.
Yeah, but at this point, it's still doing the single issue thing, or it's still doing a series. It's just a series of one shots that you have to collect and read anyway.
Right.
They're not treating them like one shots.
Absolutely.
A one shot you should be able to pick up and understand without anything else.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Joy Operations number 4.
Speaking of slow.
Yeah, it's finally going somewhere.
Not fast, though.
Right. Like, we're 4 issues in, and it's finally started to go, oh, we're going to do this now.
This should be the start of issue 2.
Yes.
If you took 1, 2, and 3, put them together into one book, and this was the start of issue 2, we'd be doing good. I'd be interested. At this point, though, I almost hesitated to add this to the list today.
Yeah?
Yeah. I really want to like this.
I do too, and I think I will. But I think it'll be one of those things like the first 2 seasons of Parks and Rec, where it's like, you don't really need them. It's that that show doesn't come into its own until the 3rd season, really.
Mm-hmm.
So let's skip that, and that's how I feel about the first 3 issues of this book.
See, I look
at the end of issue 3 kind of started going somewhere, but
yeah. But do you remember the TV series White Collar?
yes,
that first episode gave you everything you needed. You were hooked by the end of that first episode. That's what a comic should be. We're at the end of issue 4, and like I said, we should be at the beginning of issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, and it seems to be consistent in a lot of the books we're reading lately. The pacing just has been really slowed down. And I know that whole decompression thing was big for a long time, but now it's at a point where we're spending so much time on decompressing story that we're not telling story.
Yeah.
That's come on, let's pick it up a little bit here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm giving you my $4 or whatever it is for your comic. Give me part of a story. Give me something, not just a tease. And that's all this has felt like to me. We're 4 issues in, and it's continuing the promise of something that could be good. Brian Michael Bendis is a great writer. He's just broken this down into such minutia. There's so much conversation between this woman and the voice in her head that probably isn't necessary.
Well, and sometimes you can't tell in what order you're supposed to read them. It's sometimes a little difficult.
Oh, the panels? Yeah.
Well, in what order are you supposed to bounce back and forth? Are you supposed to go top to bottom?
Yeah, I noticed that too in a few pages, that the lettering really didn't guide the reader's eyes at all. And that's number one. I mean, that is the important thing that a letterer does, is it isn't just putting the words on the page. It's putting them in a way that the reader is naturally going to flow through the story. And there was a couple pages, it's like they're going down both sides and you're not sure which one the next one is. And there's no natural flow to it. So there was some panels in there that really just, and part of the problem was they were all blurred. There was no delineation of panels on the page.
Right. If you've got 12 panels on a page, which in some of these cases it feels like they do, the lettering really does have to lead you. The talk bubbles really do have to lead you, and they don't always.
Right. But there's one specific page, there's no borders. It's more like a collage.
Right. It's more like a full page splash with 6 different panels worth of text in it.
Yeah.
So
it almost feels like the creative team kind of dropped the ball there. And if it's that confusing and you can't get it to go naturally, put a freaking arrow. It's old school, but you can still put an arrow.
Yeah. And I think that would actually play well in this. So
yeah.
Or number them or something.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be honest, Dan, I didn't get to read this one. Well, you added it on, and then I didn't see the text where you said, hey, I added Harbinger until I was already here for the evening.
Yeah, I had to reach out to Valiant on this one. They sent it out, and I went to get it and just got an error message. I wasn't able to get the book, so I had to reach out to them yesterday. They got back to me this morning, and here it is. So thank you, Nick, over at Valiant, for getting that.
Shout out to, by the way, shout out to all these publishers for doing
that. Yeah. I'm still loving this series. Again, Harbinger was never my favorite book over at Valiant. But this book is really picking it up with them focusing on Peter Stanchik, turning him into a hero. And they do bring in another hero from the Valiant universe at the end of this. And it's kind of telegraphed. And I'm a little surprised they didn't come in more, because they tell you last episode or last issue, this person's coming back. Then they don't show up until the very end. And when they do, it's not for a lot. And we only see her in the final panel. That's my only complaint. Other than that, it's still a really good story. It's moving along. This guy is basically fighting himself at this point. There's a renegade out there version of himself. He's kind of split into two. One is trying to be a hero and one is trying to cause problems. And it's him trying to be a hero. And there are some people who don't think that's right, who not only don't think that he should be a hero, but that he would ever be a hero. You know, they don't think it's him because that guy wouldn't be a hero.
Right. This is one of those, and I've felt this way for 4 issues now, and I'm sure I'll feel this way when I read this, is it's people can't change story.
Yeah.
And those are inherently relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a character that I've never cared about before, this book is relatable in that way. So I'm excited to read issue 5. I'll read it when I get home tonight.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that, you know, unfortunately I missed it this afternoon, which is a bummer.
No, right now Valiant is just killing on all cylinders. You know, between this and Shadow Man, and then the books they've got announced. They just announced 3 new books. One is the Shadow War that Cullen Bunn's going to be writing. One is the return of Bloodshot, and then the final one is the return of Exo Man of War. And Liam Sharp is going to be part of the creative team on the Exo Man of War, and that has me all kinds of excited.
Yeah. Real quick before we go on to the next 3 books here,
mm-hmm.
I want to throw out a couple of things that exist this week that we didn't get to read, including My Date with Monsters #4 from Aftershock, which is a book that we had read, kind of starting, and I had continued to read.
Mm-hmm.
That wraps up this week with #4. I want to give a shout out to Fabrice Sapolsky, who's going to be on Dan's show tomorrow for the re-release of One Hit Wonder, which is now coming from Fair Square Comics. And I wanted to tell you, if you missed out on You Promised Me Darkness when it came out originally, that trade is out this week.
Did we ever get Darkness? Because they kind of promised it.
They did.
Did they deliver?
That book delivered from issue 1 for me.
Okay.
Something else just to kind of put on your radar. Behemoth has a new book out this week called Heavy Metal Drummer that's odd-sized. So if you go and you're looking for it and you can't find it, you know, they might not have racked it with everything else because it's odd-sized.
Mm-hmm.
It's the regular width, but it's short. So I don't know what that is, but that's a thing. All right. I have to stand up for a second.
Okay.
Okay. The next one up is a book that takes place in the stars, but it's not warsing.
Yes, it's trekking.
And it features the Klingons, who are my favorite characters in Star Wars. But I had a bad or Star Trek. Well, Klingons and Wookiees basically the same. But I had a bad experience with Michael Dorn, so I'm always triggered when there are Klingon stories.
Okay. Why don't you go to your safe space and I'll talk about the book?
Okay.
So this is, if you are a fan of Star Trek at all, or a fan of Klingons, and they talk about the character of Kahless, which is kind of like a legendary Klingon, this is his story. This is them diving into the deep past of the Klingons and talking about Kahless. And this is a guy who basically it's a one-shot. He is on this journey to bring honor back to the Klingons. And this whole thing is about honor and doing what's right and standing up. And it is a really good story. I really enjoyed it. It's very, like I said, it's self-contained. You don't have to be current on anything at IDW or that to know what's going on. You don't, other than, the fact that we're following Kahless, that's all you need to know. Jump in, So if you are a Klingon fan or a Star Trek fan, this is a great book to pick up.
Yeah, I enjoyed reading it. I mean, it felt very one-shotty. It felt like I didn't really need to care too much about anything before or after.
Yeah.
And so this was like a fun place to just kind of jump in and swim around for a little bit.
I'd love to see them. I don't know if this is their plan, but I'd love to see them do this with a lot of the different races from Star Trek.
Yeah.
The Bajorn, the different races and stuff. The blue guys with the antennas.
They could do one on the Cardassians and have it be written by Chris or Kim or Chloe or one of them.
Yeah.
I told you at some point you'd want to yell at me for making a dad joke. Let's move on to Purgatory.
Yeah, the final issue written by Ray Fox, and I don't. Is this Saraseka artwork?
Yes, it is Alvaro Saraseka.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one because we've been building up to this showdown between Purgatory and this coven of witches, and we finally find out who is kind of leading them, is kind of sending them on this path, and what their big plan is. And their plan, spoiler here, involves them all getting killed, which seems like a really bad plan.
Yeah, if your plan is to Jim Jones yourself, maybe don't follow that leader.
Yeah. But it also sets up what I think will be the next Purgatory story.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. This didn't feel like an ending to me.
No, they'll come out with another Purgatory. Maybe they'll have a subtitle or whatever, and they'll start with number 1 again. But it is setting up the next story arc, which is Purgatory and her new friend going up against the gods. So.
Yeah, this to me didn't feel, like I said, didn't feel like an ending, but it felt satisfactory.
Yeah, it's the ending of an arc.
Yeah,
and we're good. Yeah,
sometimes with things like this, and I felt this way about the end of the last Vampirella arc. It didn't feel satisfactory. The ending. It's okay. That's the end of the story arc. Clearly, you're leaving me hanging for the next one. That didn't feel like a satisfying ending. You're gonna pay it off in the next story arc, but this felt like, all right, I see you. Mm-hmm. This is the end. It feels good. So if I don't want to read the next story arc, I don't really have to.
Yeah.
But it's pretty decent. So.
Yeah, Ray Fox is doing a good job on this series.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
We Ride Titans #2 from Vault.
I really liked the first issue,
and
I'm good with where they're going. But again, like most of the books this week, very slow.
I don't feel like this one was as slow.
Not as slow, but it could have moved a little faster.
I felt like this book was more full of tropes than anything. Like it wasn't the first issue. Okay, I got it. You're a family of people who pilot this big mech suit thing to fight off kaiju. Got it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty simple concept. The fact that it gets passed down generationally, pretty simple concept.
Yes.
The fact that the current driver maybe has some problems because if this was your lot in life, you'd have some problems too, and is dealing with some alcoholism is a more complex idea, but still okay.
Yeah.
Now pile it all together and you get this kind of new framework for all of these classic tropes. This issue, and then the sister comes home to replace her brother and she doesn't want to. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
This issue was I kept waiting for her to say, "You're not even my real dad." You know, one of those kind of teen angst scenarios.
Yeah.
But then it leaves you in a good place in terms of action. Like, this book could have had no action at all, but rather than do that, they give you some action, and it's a precarious thing, and you can already feel, how is this family going to pull together?
Mm-hmm.
So when issue number 1 came out, it was my favorite book that week. This was a disappointing follow-up, but it still has me enthralled enough to keep going.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'm curious where it goes next. It does. It also seems like it took a long time for us to get to it.
In terms of release,
yeah,
it was delayed a couple of times because of paper.
Okay.
Yeah. I will tell you this. This is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. In between Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and the latest Bill and Ted. It's kind of how this feels. It's a disappointing middle. So let's see where it goes.
Okay.
All right. And my favorite book this week, only because it gives me an opportunity to say Garam.
Yep. I love the story. I love that we're focusing on Jane. David Boer, great job. Jordan. I don't know if I like the art that much.
I didn't have a problem with it. It felt to me, and this is the thing that I like about when Boom does these television stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading this book and I can hear Kaylee's voice.
Yes.
I can hear Mal's voice. I can hear the voices of these characters in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like, instead of seeing it through Mal's eyes, or instead of seeing it through, Book's eyes, which has been a thing in the past, you're seeing it through a different set of eyes this time. And it just looks and feels a little different, but that's not a bad thing. The art may not be for you, but I didn't mind the art. Just because it helped me to frame it,
It's not bad art, but just look at this cover. If you put your hand over the logo and the Serenity, can you tell what book this is? That doesn't look like Mal to me.
He looked more like Mal inside.
Not much.
I think so, especially if Mal wasn't the cap. By the way, in this book, it's not a spoiler. It's been out there. Kaylee is the captain of the Serenity.
Yeah, Mal left for a while.
Right. So, he's back, and it feels like what Mal would look like if he were just a crewman. Like, if he were just, I always felt like he kind of kept himself a certain way because he's the captain. He always carried himself a certain way.
Now, see, but the rest of the characters, they don't look that much. When you're doing a book based off of a series, a TV series or something, you kind of need to be a little more distinctive in the art. You need to be closer.
Yeah, you need it to look the way the characters look. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I will grant you that I didn't have a very big problem with it. Like, it was no problem for me.
Well, it's like Boom when they do Angel or they do Buffy. When Spike popped up in both of those, you knew it was Spike.
Correct.
Like I said, when Mal popped up, I didn't know it was Mal. I didn't get that,
the
some of the characters.
Fillion face.
Yeah. And then there was the guy with the mustache, and I'm like, I'm not even sure who that is. Now I realize he's an add-on character.
Right.
But still, the characters, they just don't quite feel enough like the I don't know. They're not close enough that when I glance on them, I know who they are.
See, and that too may be a way that we consume the things differently. Because if I can hear the voices in my head, I can see the faces. So
can hear the voices, but
I don't need the book to be a 1-to-1 representation of the faces, because I'll be honest, if this was a prose book, I could have seen it all in my head.
But in the prose book, I would have that image in my head.
Right. I had it for this.
Yeah, and the problem is that for me, when they put somebody on, it comes in, and it takes me a minute to realize who that person's supposed to be, it takes me out of the story.
I can understand that. Like I said, I certainly could from a personal standpoint. But like I said, for me, it would have been the same as reading a prose book. Like, I didn't pay that close attention to the art because I knew how the things should look.
Yeah. So you're saying is that you substituted the art for what's in your head instead.
In certain parts, absolutely.
Yeah, which is not a good thing because the art's supposed to be part of the story.
Right, but I mean,
it's a marriage of it.
Right. Absolutely. But there were parts where I didn't. There were parts where I did, and it's just the way my brain processes what I'm taking in.
Yeah.
If I watch, what's a good example of this? So, did you ever watch the show Last Man Standing?
Not on purpose.
Okay.
But I know Tim Allen, yeah.
Yeah, so in that show, they recast a couple of the daughters throughout the course of the show. Some, like, they wanted to age up one of the characters in between the pilot or the first season and the second season, so that they could age up the little kid between the first pilot and second season, first season, second season.
Yeah.
I never had a problem because, like, the way my brain processes that input, the actress playing it doesn't matter. That kind of thing. So that's how I felt about this. So, but I will say this, for those of you out there, I said this on Miss Jen's show. This is the Janest story of Jane there's ever Janed.
Yeah.
He hit me first is the most Jane line Jane has ever said.
By the way, the irony is when your example of swapping actors, the first time I ever noticed it, I was on an episode of General Hospital where they actually had a voiceover come in and say, the part of A.J. Quartermain will be played by Nathan Fillion. Yeah. And it was the first time I ever saw Nathan Fillion.
Well, the other example I was going to give is first and second Becky on Roseanne.
Yeah, or the mom on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right. For me, Sarah Chalk and what's her name? Lacey Goranson. It's a blonde girl.
Yeah.
Like, if you would have switched Elliot out in Scrubs, I might have had a problem. But in taking in that content, it doesn't really matter to me. So
yeah,
that's this book though. I thought was a good time. I'm very excited to see where it goes.
It's a well-written book. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see where it goes. My only complaint is I just think the art needs to be a little closer to the characters.
Right. So check out David Boer's other things, which are Killer Queens from Dark Horse. He also has Rain at Image, which is an emotional kick in the nuts. And Canto is his as well. So check out David Boer for sure.
Yeah. Wasn't Miss Jen hanging out with him this weekend?
Yesterday on her show.
Yeah.
Yep. So David Boer, and he's been on The Experience a few times. Great guy. So make sure you support him. This is my pick of the week this week.
My pick would have been Harbinger.
And that could change when I read Harbinger.
Yeah. Again, Firefly is good. I really enjoyed it. But
man, you're just a popular guy these last couple of weeks.
I know. And it's all spam calls. I don't even know why they bother anymore when your phone tells you spam risk, so you don't answer.
Right. My favorite is when they call and it doesn't come with spam risk. And I answer and I see that it's clearly spam and I start to mess with them. hello, sir. We'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. Well, that's great because I would like to talk to you about life insurance.
Yeah. That's when I go into the old man voice going, which car would that be?
Right.
Because I've got 12. There's 12 in the front yard. Right. 3 of them are on blocks, but one of them runs. Which one are you looking for? No. Which one are you looking for?
Right. Yeah. No, that's the other fun one is to do to do voices to them. They just love it. All right.
I always do that drive-throughs. Order in one voice and then get up there in a completely different voice.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So tomorrow on Dan's show, he will have Fabrice Sapolsky, who is the creator of Spider-Man Noir, and he has One Hit Wonder, which is a re-release out this week. It was originally at Image Comics. Now it's coming out from Fair Square Comics, which the idea behind Fair Square Comics is really cool. Hopefully Dan will talk to him about that. And then on Thursday, Dan, you said you're breaking down the end of Vox Machina.
Yes.
I've watched issue 9. I have to watch 10. I have to watch 11 and 12 tonight.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And be ready for a cliffhanger.
I'm sure they've announced season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
So I don't expect them to wrap anything up in any kind of way that's going to make me happy.
No. You get closure. And then they just throw something at you at the end to go, we'll be back.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I expect them to leave me in a place where you sons of...
Do you remember Silverado? At the very end, they're all going their separate ways. Kevin Costner turns around and goes, we'll be back. That's what they do.
Yeah, seems right.
And I'm good with it.
Yeah. Maybe we can both get on for the next season as bad guys.
I love how you all mix up issues and episodes. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's all serialized storytelling, Jay.
Yep.
We can go chapter and verse if you want. So. All right.
Hey, we made it.
We did make it, and I have Comics Pro the rest of the week, so I may not be super involved in everything, but we will be around. We have a new show debuting on Thursday.
Do we now? This is the one that was supposed to debut last week, but wasn't ready?
I don't know. At this point, I don't remember exactly how the story went. But Thursday after Space Cadets, that's cadets with an E, 2 T's, and an E in there, we have Nerdcular Warfare, which apparently I keep spelling wrong because the way you spell Nerdcular is different than the way you spell nuclear.
Okay.
I got my editor got back to me on a document I was creating today and goes, you spelled it wrong every time. All right, thanks. Appreciate that. So that's debuting Thursday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Immediately following Space Cadets. And before Kicking It with Henri. So
cool.
There's that.
We got a little bridge piece now, huh?
We do.
Lovely.
Yes.
Gives people something to watch before Henri comes on.
Yeah. I feel like there's something else I'm supposed to be telling people, but I don't remember what it is.
The sad passing of the lead singer of Screaming Trees?
No. I was going to bring that up on your show earlier, and I didn't. That sucks, but no, that isn't it.
Yeah.
Oh, well. If I remember, I'll tell you all later.
All right, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. He'll be doing Comics Pro.
That's the thing is we're going to play a new video right now.
Oh,
Dan has seen it, but nobody else has. So unless you're watching the end of Miss Jen's show, and even that it's changed since then. So check this out, and we will see you guys later.
Night, everybody.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Oh there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome everybody to Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Copeland. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody, welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the damn Wickline show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box?
What's in the box?
Comic culture and sales.